Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are looking at our first suspension modification on our GP3, and it's the MSS Spring Kit for this particular car. Now this was developed on the F56, but we're going to try it out on the GP3. We think it's going to fit and it's going to work really well, just like all the other MSS kits have done on the BMWs that we've been using them on. Now what's unique about this kit is that it's a height adjustable spring kit, but on the rear assembly it has two separate springs that are stacked with the height adjuster in the middle. But what's unique about this one is that the bottom spring is made up of two separate spring rates, and the top spring is another spring rate. So effectively you have three different spring rates on the rear, which just allows the car to handle bumps and undulations in the road a lot better than a standard spring setup would. Now the GP3 on the track was absolutely perfect, but I said it was a little bit stiff for the road, and I'm hoping that this is going to dial that out and allow us to drive on the road in a more controlled manner than we're currently able to do. So we're going to get this kit on the car and then go out for a road test and see what the improvements are. So the MSS suspension has been fitted to this car for the last, I would say, 800 miles. So this is not my first test drive. I did take the car to Wales and clock up around 600 miles in some beautiful Welsh roads. So given the chance for the MSS springs to settle, and I can confirm it has taken out quite a bit of the skittish nature of the car. You still have to be very alert when you drive this car. It's very lively. The way the front camber has been set up, it's got a lot of negative camber, which is great on the track, but it just means on the road you can't really relax and drive the car. But that's not what this car is about. And this is one of the familiar roads around us, and if you follow the channel you know it's quite undulating and bumpy, and the car just feels a lot more settled on it. And to be honest, that's exactly what we've experienced with the MSS and all the M cars that we've been fitting. They're all slightly skittish, this one a little bit more because it's so stiffly sprung. And the way the rear spring setup works with the triple spring rates, it just helps even everything out. So on the stock springs, we probably did around 1800 miles. So we did give them a chance to settle and soften up a little bit before we changed over, because on my F90 M5 that was very stiff at the beginning and it did soften up over time. But this one, because it's so track focused, which is what the car is meant to be for, I think on the road it was a little bit compromised, but as I said, I was fine with that. But really depends on how much of your driving you do on the road versus the track. But this is much more compliant now and enjoyable to use on the road, and considering we haven't changed the dampers yet, I think that's pretty good. And even on normal driving, like on the motorway, it's just that little bit more bearable. But as I said before, I understand this car is a track car, so I don't think it's a bad thing that it was so stiff, because it worked really well on the track. What would be interesting is now to take the MSS equipped GP3 back on the track and see what the differences are. I think next up for this car is the Bilstein Club Sport kit. So obviously a very different price bracket to the MSS, but I think if you're going to be using the car on the road mainly with occasional track, this is going to be a very, very good setup. It hasn't lowered the car by a huge amount. It's lowered it a little bit, which improves the aesthetics, but again, this upgrade is more about the ride quality and maintaining the handling characteristics of the car. It just seems a lot less skittish and a little bit more pliable, which is what I was expecting. So yeah, this is just cruising at 30 miles an hour on a normal road, and yeah, it's just that little bit more compliant and a little bit more comfortable, which is not a word I want to be using when driving the GP3, but again, completely depends on how you're using the car. If it can do both, then that's even better. Cool, I'm gonna head off back to the workshop now. As I said, the next upgrade we're gonna do on this car is the Bilstein Club Sport coilovers, which are in a completely different bracket to the MSS, and see how they behave on the road and track. That is a full upgrade, so that's the springs, camber plates, and the dampers. So it'll be interesting to see if we can dial the dampers in to provide even more compliancy on the road, but still have the same performance the GP3 has on the track. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you'd like to watch more of this project, you can do so over here. If you'd like to watch what YouTube suggests you might like from our other videos, you can watch that over here. If you like this video, please click on the thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. If you guys have any questions, please drop them in the comment section and we'll do our best to answer them for you.